Hi everybody, my name is Jenny. Welcome back to my channel. Oh my god, I don't even know what I look like. Alright, whatever, you know what? This is what you get. I can't even see myself, so. Well hi, hello. Hold on, I don't want this strap in the way. Today it is time for my Tuesday drive on the way to therapy. However, it is not Tuesday, it is Wednesday, and I'm not going to therapy because I did that yesterday. I didn't film yesterday because there were reasons. It just had to do with logistics. Sometimes you can't film because of logistics, and logistics made it so I couldn't film. So I'm doing it today. Where am I headed right now? I'm headed to Starbucks because I would like a little pick-me-up. So I thought, what better way to drive to Starbucks was to film my video at the same time. I was trying to think of what to talk about today. If you're new to my channel, this particular video is part of a series where every week, usually when I'm driving to therapy, but again, in this instance, it's not therapy, I talk about a different topic that is related to either chronic illness, mental illness, or both. And today, because Thanksgiving is upon us tomorrow, I decided to talk about tips for surviving Thanksgiving if you have an eating disorder. Because I thought that was relevant, and I guess if you're coming across this in like December, this could apply to Christmas. And I didn't write anything out. I thought I would just kind of talk off the top of my head, so it would be less like these are hard, fast tips and more of just what has worked for me in the past. So if you haven't seen any of my videos or just whatever, like a summary of who I am in recovery from anorexia and bulimia and compulsive exercising, but anorexia and bulimia. I've been in recovery, in active recovery for almost 10 years. It'll be 10 years in March since I have been in recovery. But before that, there were well over a decade of me in and out of hospitals for eating disorder. So I've had plenty of holidays where food has been a scary, scary thing. And beyond food, I mean, the holidays presents just like a whole bunch of stuff. I know for me, right now, as an adult, it's pretty lonely on the holidays. I have lost a lot of my family. I'm in California alone. I'm single, which is fine. I would just bring that up, meaning like I'm not part of like a couple celebration for the holidays. My mom is 2,000 miles away, and then any family I have left is further than that. So it really is just me and my dog. But this holiday, I'm going to some friends' house, so I'm not like completely alone, but that's not the point of this video. The point of this video is that I get it. I've had a variety of different kinds of holidays from when my family was alive and that sounded so dramatic. I didn't mean that to sound so dramatic, but literally, I mean, they were alive. And we would all gather, because when my family was alive, we would like all gather for the holidays, especially Thanksgiving as a kid was like a big deal. But then, you know, as people start dying, there's not enough people to fit around the table, you know what I mean? Oh, jokes. Anyway, but anyway, I get it. I've been around the families that say things. I've been around like buffets of food and you don't know how to handle it or you're overwhelmed by it. I've been around the comments. I've been around feeling uncomfortable and not like just making this instead of being able to enjoy the holiday, making it this thing that is ruined by an eating disorder. I've been there, and it doesn't have to be that way. It really doesn't. I thought there'd be a longer line at Starbucks, and there's not, so this is really kind of throwing me off. I lost my train of thought. First of all, I think the most important thing to remember is this literally is a meal like any other meal. Society has just put a label on it. Literally, that's all it is. Thanksgiving is a time when you're supposed to enjoy your family or your friends or just be thankful for things and to have a meal, eat it with other people, and go about your day or hang out with them, and then the next day you wake up and it's a new day and it's after Thanksgiving and it's over. It's literally one day. Just keep that in mind. And it literally is a meal. If you break it down to the reality of what it is without like take away all the fanfare, it's a meal that you're eating with other people. You do that every single day of the year. That isn't different. The difference is that people put so much pressure on it. There's a lot more food. If you find yourself somebody who has a problem with binging, you know what? One day, if you overate something on Thanksgiving because you're enjoying it, it's not gonna hurt you. It literally is not gonna hurt you. Mentally, it might feel like it will, but it won't. The reality of it is it won't. What I've learned with my eating disorder is when I told myself things were off limits and that there was no, like, no this, no that, and then I ate it, I would end up binging on it because my body thought that it was off limits and I'd never get it again. So then it would binge on it, and then I'd freak out about it, and I'd try to restrict it from my diet, or I'd try to do crazy things, and then that would just cause that cycle to happen again. Whereas once I started recovering and I started purposefully eating the foods I would binge on, and when I'd binge on it, go back and eat those foods, I tricked my mind into thinking, okay, these aren't off limits anymore. So I can... Hi, I'd like a grande iced decaf almond milk latte.
You said a grande iced
decaf almond milk latte.
Decaf almond milk latte. Gotcha. Alright, what else can I get for you?
That's all.
Alrighty. You'll see Alex at the window. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. When I started, and this is more of like how to recover from binging and stuff, like how I did it, but I don't mean to put that in this video, but it is something that I think applies to Thanksgiving in terms of people who binge because they're trying to not overeat, and they go into the holiday with all these restrictions. When you go into a holiday with all those restrictions and you're prone to binge eating, you're setting yourself up to binge eat because your brain and your body are thinking, well, I can't ever have this again, so I must eat all of it right now. And there's obviously a lot of other psychological reasons behind binge eating, but that's a physiological one. You know, the psychological aspects could be because of like all the family stuff, stuffing your feelings and all that kind of thing. That is separate. But in terms of the physiological thing, and I mean, it's a true thing. If your body thinks it's not going to get something, it's going to want to eat more of it. That is just something to think about. When I was anorexic, it was really scary for me to eat in front of people. Terrifying for me to eat in front of people. I was very specific about the things I would eat. Any kind of comments would trigger me, just anything. And there are ways that you can go about setting yourself up for success if you are suffering from anorexia. And one of them is, you know what? Eat what you're comfortable eating. If you need to have your own meal there, that's completely fine. If you think your family's gonna say something, if you're younger and your parents are there, have them talk to their siblings, to their parents, if your grandparents are alive. Have them go ahead and kind of talk to your guests and be like, hey, please don't comment on food. People don't realize how much their comments can hurt you. Even a little comment saying, oh, you look so much better, you look healthier, that can set you back for a really long time. And I think the mindset to go into the holidays is kind of expecting that kind of stuff and knowing that it's coming from a place of ignorance. It's coming from a place of not necessarily them even meaning what they say. A lot of times people will say things just to be polite and they don't mean it, not knowing how much weight what they're saying means. If you allow it to have weight, then it is gonna have weight. Weight's the very wrong word, but you know what I mean. Have the food that makes you comfortable, because if your parents give you a hard time about it or anyone else gives you a hard time about it, let them know that that isn't okay. Speak up for yourself, find your voice, and say, you know what, this is what I'm gonna eat right now. And if they keep pressuring you, say, it's what I prefer. This is what a therapist told me a long time ago. When I was vegetarian, long before like it was a thing a lot of people were doing, I used to get so much hell for it, especially in the midst of my eating disorder when I was vegetarian. My therapist told me to be a broken record and say, this is what I prefer, it's what I prefer. No matter what people said, no matter how much they challenged me, all I would say is it's what I prefer. And eventually they'll shut up, because if you come at them with a broken record, they're going to lose their momentum and it's not going to be fun for them to challenge you anymore, and they're going to shut up. If somebody comments on your appearance, as much as I know I would want to be like, hey, fuck off, like that's so rude, I know that I can't even do that after all these years of me getting to where I am in recovery. But I think if you mentally prepare yourself for saying, you know what, this isn't gonna affect me if they say something, because it's not about me, it's about them, and it's not true. Whatever they say is not true. Just assume it's not true. Hold on, I have to pay now.
Hi, $4.55.
And can I get a sleeve for it and 2 sugar in the raws?
Yeah, for sure.
Thanks.
There you go.
Thank you.
There you go.
Thank you.
There you go.
Thank you. Thanks, you too. Okay. I got my almond milk latte. Yes, I got decaf. I'm very sensitive to caffeine, and decaf espresso has caffeine in it. So it's definitely not nearly as much as normal espresso, but it does have some caffeine, and it's enough caffeine that my body is sensitive enough to pick it up. So in case you were like silently judging me, you can just say it out loud. Oh my God, I just want to park so I can finish this video. This freaking lady, you have plenty of room to park in that parking spot. You have an ample amount of room to park in that parking spot. I don't know why you're acting like it's filled with little puppies that you're gonna hit. Oof. Here, let's just go here. Okay, this is why I really should have planned this video out, because it is very kind of all over the place. So, some things I would do is, I always made sure there was at least something I could eat, especially because I know myself, and I would set myself up for failure in terms of being like, you're only gonna eat X, Y, and Z, and then I'd want some of the other things that were normally off limits to me, in my head off limits to me, and scary, and so then I would end up binging on them, and then it would set me like thrown off for days. It ended up being this needless cycle I was on. At the time, it felt so real, and even when I was, you know, actively in treatment, and people would tell me that the cycles, all, you know, all this is just in my head in terms of like how this one meal is going to affect me, I didn't believe them. I believed what was in my head, and now being so many years into recovery, they're 100% right. Like, it really is a day. 1 day's worth of food, it is impossible for it to affect you in any way that's going to be noticeable to anyone. It's impossible for you to gain noticeable weight from one meal. So enjoy yourself on Thanksgiving. Just do it. If you are accidentally eat too much and you're freaking out about it, there's no reason to freak out about it, because that's just gonna set you up for another restriction binge cycle. And then you're gonna be on this little cycle pattern until you break out of it. You can break out of it right away by not allowing it to become a cycle. Just don't allow it. Just tell yourself, I'm not gonna allow this to be a cycle. This is 1 day, it's not gonna hurt me. Remember, it takes an extra 3,500 calories to make a pound on top of what you normally have to have in an intake. An extra 3,500 calories. That's a lot of food to make an extra pound of physical weight. And even if you did somehow eat like 10,000 calories and did gain a physical pound, which first of all, you're not, your metabolism's gonna speed up to compensate for it. What's gonna slow your metabolism down is restricting after. That's what's gonna slow it down. Metabolisms, when they get this like extra amount of it, because food is energy. When you're within an eating disorder, you forget that. Food is the enemy, but it really is, literally food is there, it's energy. So it's like you're throwing extra energy on your metabolism. If you think of your metabolism as like an engine or a fire, you're just throwing extra energy on it. Doing that when your body's not used to it, it's gonna rev it up. It's gonna make it burn more, actually. If it was something you did every day, your body's gonna acclimate to it, and then it'll be something that, you know, will eventually show. But doing it 1 or 2 days is not gonna do anything. But even say, for argument's sake, you did gain a physical pound, nobody can see that. My dad used to explain it to me, like, because I used to freak out about it. Like, if you had a bowl and you took a pound and you like spread it out over the entire bowl, or just like whatever, like a body's way bigger in the bowl, that's better. So you just basically, it's not like you have a pound everywhere on your body. You're taking one physical pound, which is not big, and just literally spreading it out onto your entire body. It's not noticeable. It feels different to you because of your eating disorder, and that is your eating disorder. Nobody else knows or can tell. It is natural for people to fluctuate in weight within a several day span. If watching other people eat freaks you out, have a plan for that. Make sure you sit by somebody you know is not going to make you upset. It's okay to need to go take a walk or to ask to go outside. Like, set in place things for you that are going to make the day easier. Go ahead and talk ahead of time to whoever the host is or your parents or whoever, and just say, you know, please don't comment if I need to walk out of the room for a little bit or if I need to do X, Y, and Z. Nobody is going to know what you need unless you ask for it. That's why it's so important to ask for it, because if someone's not going through an eating disorder, they're gonna have no idea what you're feeling, what is in your head. They're not gonna understand it because it's not something that they're struggling with. You have to advocate for yourself and fill your day with fun things to do to distract yourself. Play games with your family or your friends. Watch the parade, watch TV, watch Christmas movies, or if you're Jewish, watch, I was gonna say Hanukkah movies, but watch something, anything. Listen to music. There's just so much you can do if you go into the day with an active plan and just literally keep reminding yourself, this is just like any other day. There's no difference. It's a meal. I don't need to overeat. I don't need to do these things because I can have them whenever I want. You can have dressing and mashed potatoes and rolls. I'm just saying carbs because I love carbs, and that was always a hard thing for me to not binge on when I was able to eat that. I can't eat a lot of that right now because I'm gluten-free, but it is something that, like, I love. I just lost my train of thought. Oh, my train of thought was you can eat that any day, any other day. So if you're full on Thanksgiving, but you're thinking like, your brain is like, oh, I should have this pie. It's Thanksgiving. I'm not gonna get it again. You could go to the store and get it the next day. Christmas is a month away. All of this food's gonna be there for an entire month, you know? Write stuff down for you. Like, I used to write myself reminders so that when my head would take over, I would have the logical version in my own voice written out so that I could counteract it, because whichever voice is louder is the one you're going to listen to and believe. So if you choose to consistently make the healthy voice louder, it's going to drown out your sick voice. And the way to do that is to constantly reinforce your healthy voice, to say it out loud. When you're reinforcing and repeating the negative voice, it becomes louder. Our brains are wired to where the little wrinkles in our brain are thoughts and maps of knowledge. So when you think a thought enough times, that wrinkle's gonna get bigger. But if you think another thought more, that wrinkle's going to be bigger than the other one. I used to have this like drawing I made on my desk that was like, stop. I think it was like a picture of a brain. I was like, stop, don't make another wrinkle, or don't, I can't remember what I wrote, but it helped me. It really did help me. What else? Have a support system too. If you've got people you can text, and anyone else who's suffering maybe from an eating disorder, or just a friend who understands what you're going through, that you could be like, hey, listen, if I text you, I really need to be distracted, or I really need you to just talk to me about something. Don't focus on what you're scared of or what you're trying to distract from. So like, if you're freaking out about the food you ate, get someone to distract you about something else, not by talking about the food you ate, if that makes sense, because that's just gonna make you stew in it. You need to be thinking about something else. Some things that have worked for me when I'm freaking out about things, or I'll call someone, I'll be like, tell me what you did today. Don't leave anything out. Start at the beginning when you woke up. What did you eat today? What did you do? If hearing what someone ate today is too much for you, leave that part out. But like, in terms of like, I would get someone to tell me from when they woke up, they brushed their teeth, they went to the store, what did they get at the store? I would get them to literally detail out their day to me, because by the time they were done, I'd calm down and stop spinning. In terms of where I am, I'm in recovery from my eating disorder. I'm at a place in my recovery where I'm not scared about going to be around other people eating food like I would have been in the past, for sure. I just am at a place where that isn't scary to me. If someone makes a comment about me, my weight, my food, anything like that, that literally does nothing to me now. Or there's no triggering there. At least with this friend group, I'm not worried about that. It took me a very long time to get to this place. So if you're nowhere near this place, don't feel bad. It took me a very long time to get here. I'm bringing my own food. I know that I'm not going to be able to eat the majority of the stuff my friends are having. I don't care what they think. I've done that in the past. I've had meals with holidays with these people in the past. No one's ever said anything. No one cares. They all understand that I can't eat what they're cooking. I don't make a big deal about it. I don't draw attention to myself. I don't overthink it. I just get what I get. I make sure I'm taken care of for the day. I make sure that I have everything I need. If I do get anxious, I have a plan in place. I'd say for me right now, distracting myself is the easiest thing because I do have a lot of anxiety and depression. I can't think of anything else right now without going into like a whole other conversation. It's gonna be okay. These are memories that years from now, despite how uncomfortable you are in your eating disorder, existing in the moment, you're gonna look back and be so grateful that you had this experience with other people. Now, years later, not having my family around, I look back on those times when it was stressful, quote unquote, for me back then, and I would give anything to be back in that time period to experience that again. As a person in recovery, it really wasn't as bad as my brain was making it for me. It was my brain making it that bad. And if you remind yourself that, even if it doesn't feel real to you, that is the reality, and just keep reminding yourself that, you're gonna be able to get through the day. You're going to, and it's gonna be okay. See what works for you for Thanksgiving, and then if you do celebrate Christmas or even New Year's, people do a lot of things on New Year's that involve food. You can see what worked for you, what didn't work for you on Thanksgiving, and adjust it and fix it and try something else for the next holiday. It is a lot of trial and error, and the more you practice this, the easier it gets. Starting a new mental habit or behavior isn't easy at first, and it's not going to come as natural to you, so you're going to have to be mindful of it and keep reminding yourself of what you need to do to get through the day. That's why I'd say write it down, because if you write it down, your brain's not going to forget it. It's going to have it right there in front of you. I've had to read on a piece of paper things 10, 12 times in a row, back to back to back, to get my brain to calm down, for me to be able to be like, okay, this is true. All right, this is true. This is the reality. And I always write those things down when I'm in a good headspace, when I'm in a logical headspace, when I'm not within my disordered thinking. I write it from a place of my healthy brain talking. And that's the way my healthy brain is louder than my non-healthy brain. If it is Thanksgiving and you're freaking out, feel free to direct message me on Instagram. My Instagram is it's me, Jennie is awesome. I'm happy to be a support as much as I can for anyone that might need it. That's my public Instagram, and I think it'd be the easiest way to reach out to me. Again, you're gonna be fine, and have a great Thanksgiving. Have fun. And I will see you guys whenever I decide to film a new video. Until then, have a great day. Bye.